Hello, everyone. My name is Dakarion Wimberly. I am a senior here. This is my fourth year being able to help put this show on, and this is my third year as Black Student Union President, officially voted in. And I'm so glad that all of you guys could join us here today, and we're very grateful, and we put a lot of hard work into this, so we hope that you enjoy.
Good morning, everyone. My name is London Horn, and for those of you who don't know me, I'm a junior here at Elyria High School, and I have the honor of serving as this year's Vice President of BSU. Today, we are gathered to commemorate the 100th year anniversary of Black History Month in America. A century to recognizing a history that has for too often been ignored, minimized, and overlooked in textbooks. From over 400 years in bondage, to the brilliance of the Harlem Renaissance, through the fight for equal rights during the Civil Rights Movement, all the way to modern day struggles, Black history tells the stories of resilience, resistance, and excellence in these aspects. Now, while many of you are familiar with iconic figures that go along with these topics, such as Harriet Tubman, Rosa Parks, Dr. Martin Luther King, and Barack Obama, they are only part of the story. Today, we recognize and uplift the voices of other remarkable Black Americans whose stories and contributions are just as deserving of being seen, told, and heard.
Now it is my honor, as also choir president, to introduce the Elyria High School a cappella and chorale choirs, as well as our fiddlers from orchestra. They will be performing the Black National Anthem, Lift Every Voice, which is a profound hymn of faith and freedom written as a poem by NAACP leader James Weldon Johnson in 1900. And it was composed by his brother, John Resmond Johnson, originally performed by 500 school children in Florida for Lincoln's birthday. It became a powerful rallying cry during the Civil Rights Movement, and it's now our Black National Anthem. So please stand if you are able to, and remove all of your hats for the singing and playing of our Black National Anthem by your Elyria High School Choir and Orchestra.
Hello, my name is Elyria Woolbright. I am this year's choir vice president. The next song you will be hearing is Soon I Will Be Done. Soon I Will Be Done was arranged by William L. Dawson, who is a staple in the choral world because of his innovative approach in setting traditional African-American spirituals for choir. Dawson was born in Alabama, 1899. At the age of 13, he ran away to study music full-time at the Tuskegee Institution, now university, under school president Booker T. Washington. He later returned in 1931 to take over the choral program. Soon I Will Be Done is a spiritual, which is a style of folk song created by enslaved individuals in the U.S. South, blending African music, traditional music, such as call and response, with Christian theology. You will hear lyrics that describe the deep longing for freedom, even if it's only found in the afterlife. This piece emphasizes the importance of lyrics through a wide range of dynamics, articulations, and expressions.
Sooner we'll be done with the troubles of the world. Going home to live with God. Sooner we'll be done with the troubles of the world, troubles of the world, the troubles of the world. Sooner we'll be done with the troubles of the world. Going home to live with God. I want to meet my mother. I want to meet my mother. I want to meet my mother. I'm going to live with God. I want to meet my mother. I want to meet my mother. I want to meet my mother. I'm going to live with God. Sooner we'll be done with the troubles of the world, the troubles of the world, the troubles of the world. Sooner we'll be done with the troubles of the world. Going home to live with God. Sooner we'll be done with the troubles of the world, the troubles of the world, the troubles of the world. Sooner we'll be done with the troubles of the world. Going home to live with God.
No more weeping and a wailing. No more weeping and a wailing.
No more weeping and a wailing. I'm going to live with God.
No more weeping and a wailing. No more weeping and a wailing.
No more troubles of the world, the troubles of the world, the troubles of the world. Sooner we'll be done with the troubles of the world. Going home to live with God. Sooner we'll be done with the troubles of the world, the troubles of the world, the troubles of the world. Sooner we'll be done with the troubles of the world. Going home to live with God. I want to meet my Jesus. I want to meet my Jesus. I want to meet my Jesus. I'm going to live with God. I want to meet my Jesus. I want to meet my Jesus. I want to meet my Jesus. I'm going to live with God. I'm going to live with God. I'm going to live with God.
Hello again, everybody. I hope that you guys enjoyed that. We're gonna move into the edu part of our edutainment here today, and we're gonna tell the stories of a couple of events, artifacts, and people that are lost in history. And we'll start with Clotilda.
Hello, y'all. If you don't know me, my name is Brian Curry. This is my slide. The Clotilda is known as the last slave ship to enter the United States. Even though the international slave trade has been illegal since 1808, the ship illegally brought over 100 Africans to Mobile, Alabama in 1860. The voyage was funded by Mayer family, including Timothy Mayer, who made a bet that he could secretly smuggle enslaved Africans to the country without getting caught. After the ship arrived, it was burned and sucked to hide the crime. Just 5 years later, the slavery was ended in 1865, but the trauma and injustice has already been done. After gaining their freedom, many of the survivors stayed together and founded Africatown, where they worked to preserve African culture, traditions, and language. Today, many descendants of the Clotilda survivors still live in Africatown and continue to fight for recognition, justice, and reparations. While descendants of the enslaved Africans are still seeking economic and environmental justice for their community, descendants of the Mather family have continued their own valuable land and property in this area. This history is important not only because it shows the cruelty of slavery and the strength of those who survived it, but it reminds us of the effects of slavery is still present in the inequality and injustice seen today.
How y'all doing? Hi, my name is Khalil Washington. Today I'll be presenting Mansa Musa. Mansa Musa was the ninth Mansa of the Mali Empire, which reached its territorial peak during his reign. As he ruled for 25 years, he himself has shifted the economy alone. Musa's reign is often regarded as the zenith of Mali's power and prestige, although he's featured less in Mandinkan oral traditions than his predecessors. Mansa Musa is still regarded as the richest person to live. He is known to be one of the greatest black men to live, along with LeBron James. Thank you.
My name is Aiden Adkins, and my slide is on Judge John A. Howard. John A. Howard was born on July 25th, 1923. He attended and graduated from Elyria High School and was an outstanding athlete. He participated in several sports, including basketball and football. During World War II, he served in the Army and afterwards won an athletic scholarship to A&M University in Tallahassee, Florida. He received his law degree from Franklin University in 1949. Howard served as the judge of the Elyria Municipal Court for 13 years and was the first African-American judge in Lorraine County. He served as the first black president of the Ohio State Bar Association. John A. Howard passed away in 2002 at the age of 78, and in 2008, the John A. Howard Municipal Courthouse was named in his honor.
Hi, my name's Amy, and I'll be presenting Dr. Rebecca Lee Crumpler. Dr. Crumpler was a trailblazer in American history and a powerful example of courage and determination. Born in 1831, she grew up during a time when women and African Americans had very limited opportunities, especially in higher education. Despite these barriers, she pursued her dream of becoming a doctor, and in 1864 became the first African American woman to earn a medical degree in the United States. After the Civil War, Dr. Crumpler moved to the South to care for formerly enslaved people who had little or no access to medical treatment. She worked tirelessly to improve the health of women and children, often facing discrimination because of her race and gender. Her compassion and dedication made a real difference in communities that desperately needed care. In 1883, she published a book of medical discourses, becoming one of the first African Americans to write and publish a medical text. Her work not only helped patients during her lifetime, but also inspired future generations of black doctors and women in medicine. Dr. Crumpler's legacy is one of strength, service, and breaking barriers. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Caden. I'm talking about black cowboys. In the beginning, after the Civil War, millions of formerly enslaved men headed west for work. Ranching was a very common job due to the skills they learned while enslaved, such as working in livestock, farming, land management, repair work, and survival skills. In the late 1800s, about 1 in 4 cowboys were black. Equal pay. Ranching was a rare job where skill was valued over race. Black and white ranchers were often paid the same. All that matters was if you could ride, rope, and survive the trail life. In cattle drives, it was practical, not political. The decline. Cowboys didn't necessarily disappear, they just became less visible. It was the end of the open land era, there was a rise in segregation laws, and Hollywood reshaped how cowboys were seen in movies as white, even though many were African American, Mexican, or Native American. This changed how the world remembered the Wild West. The term cowboy. In the late 1800s, white ranchers were often called cowhands or cowpunchers, while black ranchers were called cowboys. Boy was used as a disrespectful and diminishing term towards black men before and after slavery. When we picture the Wild West, we often picture one story, but history shows us that it was built by many, and black cowboys were a major part of that story.
Morning, everyone. My name is Jeremiah Vickers. Today, I'll be speaking shortly on Miss Shirley Brown Reeder. Miss Shirley Brown Reeder was a retired educator from the Cleveland Metropolitan School District. Her early life and education lies within here in Elyria High. She went to McKinley Elementary, Eastern Heights Junior High, and Elyria High School. She had the opportunity to write for the Chronicle Telegram during Elyria's bicentennial celebration. The exposure to so many interesting stories of African American families during the Great Migration here to Elyria inspired Miss Shirley Brown Reeder to produce and create her book, Looking at Elyria History with Ebony Eyes. Inspired by an encounter with Michelle Obama, she was encouraged to produce the book and focused on the theme, My Eyes, My Power. She was a catalyst. She was a catalyst for exploring and discussing the impact of African American migration onto the city. And yes, Miss Shirley Brown Reeder is history here within Elyria. Up next, we have one of my favorite, Dr. Clarence Sumner Green. Now, Dr. Clarence, he was the first African American male certified through the Board of Neurological Surgery. Now, although Dr. Clarence was the first African American certified through this board, his legacy lives more than just those words. His legacy was a testament to all young African American males and females wishing to pursue something that may seem not worth going for. He completed dental school, and in the midst of all of that, he found his profound love for neurosurgery. Skilled was an understatement for the skills that Dr. Clarence possessed. And during this time, in the early and late 30s, it was unheard of to be a black physician in America. But thanks to great perseverance from Dr. Clarence Sumner and the great support he had with his fellow colleagues, he was able to accomplish this. Dr. Clarence Sumner Green, Sr., ability to strive through all of the prominence, racial barriers, and social injustices, and to go beyond expectations for a black physician during that time was nonetheless remarkable. He has inspired generations of up-and-coming physicians, not of just African American descent, but of people from all backgrounds. So please, ladies and gentlemen, can we clap it up for Dr. Clarence Sumner Green, Sr.
All right. Hello, everybody. Lucarion's back again. So, every year I've given a speech, whether it was a poem or I wrote it, and this year I took an approach from the president of the National Urban League, Mark Morial, and I actually used some of his wording in the speech when he did his summary of the state of Black America. So each year the National Urban League gets this team together and they go through the reports of the numbers and statistics of what's happening with Black and brown people in America, and they call it the state of Black America. If you want to read it, it's posted on their website, so you totally can. So that's what this speech is, except for I put a twist on it with how we can help aid in the fight to saving our democracy. Because we are in a crisis like we have not seen before. This year, we should have been honoring the 17th Voting Rights Act, the 17th year celebration of the Voting Rights Act of 1964 this year, so that we could reflect on the promise, the progress, and the equality that it brought us closer to. Before the Voting Rights Act, Jim Crow laws ruled the South, a government-sanctioned system of terror physically blocking people from the ballot. And then there were literacy tests, poll taxes, and intimidation. Mark Morial told us a story about his grandmother. The year was 1950. She goes to register to vote, and on the form it asks her, "What color are your eyes?" She then puts BRN for brown. When she goes up to give the clerk her paper, the clerk tells her, "I'm sorry, you filled this form out wrong." And she was turned away and could not vote. The Voting Rights Act changed that. It opened the doors to Black Americans after centuries of enslavement and generations of being shut out of political power. It gave us a civil rights division, not only with the task of protecting voting rights, but civil rights at large, disability rights, reproductive rights, equal employment, and any other civil right that you might think of. Now, in a torturing of common sense and decency, that same division is now being twisted into a weapon. it now has been tasked to enforce anti-diversity and anti-equity executive orders that have stripped millions of funding from healthcare and education and even housing. The word diversity, equity, and inclusion have been smeared like it's an attack on American values, like diversity dilutes the qualification pool. If you look at our school, it's filled with diversity. That's how we have so much talent and so many different perspectives. And this attack is not just wrong, it is dangerous. It didn't just begin with policy, it began with rhetoric, with hate speech, with lies, and conspiracy theories festered on the internet until it found a home in mainstream America. What started as a war on woke has become a war on truth and a tool to dismantle voting rights and other civil rights. There have been about 300 voter suppression bills in the US since 2024. States are purging voter rolls, requiring stricter ID matches. The Save America bill that was just passed in Congress is now making it harder for you to be able to vote. Right here in Ohio, which was one of the citadels in the anti-slavery movement, proposed 2 laws that threaten to erect new barriers on Election Day. There is a complete collapse of our constitutional guardrails. The tools meant to protect democracy are being used to dismantle it from the inside out. That being simply put, we are in a state of emergency. There has been a decrease in jobs amongst Gen Z people of color since 2025. It has decreased by 17%. Do you think this is because we are unqualified? Because I don't. I don't think we're lazy, and I definitely don't think we're stupid. There are only 22.5% of black men that go on to pursue higher education. This is the lowest number from every racial group in America. For the first time in America, we see black unemployment rising while white unemployment is falling. In April of 2025, a record number of black women found their way to the unemployment line. We are beginning to see the real impact of these policies of division. We, especially as young people, have a duty to be hyper vigilant and hyper aware of what is happening. Because this is not some TV show, okay? It's not some movie we're going to rate in the movie theater. This is not Love Island, guys. It's not. Okay? If we allow them to dismantle our democracy right now, then we will not have one for the future. And for anyone in this room who is thinking to themselves that politics does not concern me, let it be known that every decision in your life is political. Your education, your health care, how much money your job pays you. Every decision that affects your life is voted on and decided by people that you elect into office. We gotta remember something. It is our turn to fight, and we're gonna be all right. You know why? Because they fought like hell to hold our grandparents down. Now it is our turn to fight. Don't let TikTok and Instagram fool you. Don't let it fool you into thinking that your heritage doesn't matter. We are on the shoulders of giants who came before us. We gotta remember something. There were people who paved the way for us to be where we are right now. We have to look back and appreciate what they went through. The dogs, the hoses, the torture. Just because life is better for you right now does not mean that you don't have to fight anymore. When you don't feel like fighting, when you get exhausted, you have to get up and fight. The price of freedom is eternal vigilance, quoted by Thomas Jefferson, one of the founding fathers, and that is what it means to be black. To be black is to fight. You gotta fight every day of your life until we are equal with everyone else. They've done the heavy lifting. We just gotta keep the momentum going. And how do we do this? Well, I'm so glad that you asked. We vote. If you are 18 or will be 18 by the midterm election, we are getting registered to vote before April 1st. There's so many people in this building that can help you. Your vote matters, because if it didn't, there wouldn't be people trying so hard to take it away from you. And not only do we vote, we organize. We resist. We participate in the boycotts, okay? And most importantly, we get so dangerously educated that we know everything that the powers that be don't want us to know. It is our job as a collective to fight for a better tomorrow. No matter your gender, no matter your race, no matter your creed, and no matter your sexuality or religion, we have a duty to keep the doors to democracy open, equitable, and healthy. Because we are as powerful as we make ourselves. Thank you.
Hi. I would like to introduce our Honorable Judge, Farah Emeka. She is the newly elected judge of the Oberlin Municipal Court. As an attorney, advocate, and community leader judge, Emeka's career has been defined by her commitment to fairness, service, and justice. With over 24 years' experience as a licensed attorney, she has worked tirelessly to ensure that all people, regardless of background, are treated with dignity and equity in the legal system. A graduate of Seattle University School of Law, Judge Emeka has built her career on the principle that the courts must be accessible to every member of the community. She has handled a wide range of classes with integrity, compassion, and a clear dedication to the public good. Beyond the courtroom, she has served as a mentor to young people and an advocate for initiatives that strengthen families, expand opportunities, and protect the most vulnerable. Judge Emeka has served on many boards and committees in December. She ended her time as the president of the Oberlin City Schools Board of Education and the chair of the Lorain County Bar Association Grievance Committee. She still serves as the vice president of the Family Planning Services Board and member of the Mad Factory Theater Company Board.
Judge Emeka's most important role is wife to her husband, Justin, and mother to her 2 sons. Judge Emeka's family is the foundation upon which she stands. Each day, her and her family speaks life into her and keeps her uplifted so she can continue this important work. Judge Emeka is the first Black woman to be elected in Lorain County, as well as the first Oberlin resident, woman, and person of color to be elected judge in the Oberlin Municipal Court. In this role, Judge Emeka seeks to bring her values of fairness, accountability, and transparency into the bench. Judge Emeka's service on the bench is grounded in the belief that justice should never be a privilege for the few, but a right for all, and that justice must be rooted in both compassion and accountability.
That's right.
Hello, Madam Judge. So we are so excited to have you here with us. So we're gonna do our little Q&A session here for you guys. We have some questions we're gonna ask her. And so our first question would be, could you just give us a brief overview of who you are, where you come from, and what your job is?
So good morning. I want to start by saying thank you so much for inviting me here today. This is wonderful energy in this room, in this building. You all are giving me life today, okay? So I want to start with that. Second thing I want to say is I am Farah Lillian Emeka. I have to make sure people pronounce my name right, and you all remember that too. Your identity is very important. So even though people do it unintentionally, make sure that they call you by your name and that it is pronounced correctly. So Farah Lillian Emeka. Now, who I am. I've lived in Lorain County now for 20 years. I'm originally from the south side of Chicago, so I'm not here from this area originally, but this is my chosen home. I moved here back in 2006 with my family so that I could raise my young sons in an area where I thought that they would be safe and able to kind of grow without as many challenges, without as much danger. There's always, challenges and danger, but this was a safer community for my family to kind of plant roots. I'm a graduate of Oberlin College, so that's how I got introduced to Lorain County. Yes, thank you. And when I was a student at Oberlin College, I actually did tutoring throughout Lorain County. So I came to the schools here, not this building obviously, because this is a newer building, but I tutored at Elyria High and Elyria West, and I tutored at Admiral King and Southview and Oberlin High School. So I was somewhat familiar with the area. And then what I do is I started off as a lawyer. I've been a lawyer now for 25 years. I was actually a prosecutor, which if you know, marginalized communities and black folks in particular, the prosecutor and law enforcement is not really the way you want to go. So a lot of people kind of question me about that. But I realized when I got in the seat that I could do a lot of good as a black woman with a different perspective and with a whole lot of discretion. So, okay, we got a few minutes left. Okay, so with a whole lot of discretion. So being a prosecutor really prepared me to be able to sit in the role of judge because it meant I was in the courtroom all the time and that I understood how criminal law worked well and I understood the Constitution and its importance. And ultimately becoming the city of Oberlin prosecutor meant that I sat in the court as the prosecutor where I am now the judge. So I got to watch the previous judge before me who did a very good job upholding the rule of law and honoring the Constitution and making sure people knew and were educated about their rights. And so I continue that in the court now, but I bring my perspective. My background, who I am, what I look like, my name, my identity is very much sitting up on the bench with me. And I even see when people come into the courtroom every day that they are pleasantly surprised to see me sitting there. So it's already having an impact. I'll stop there. Yeah. Yeah.
So you were the first black female judge in Lorain County. Could you tell us or explain what your motive was behind that?
So, one, I had no idea I was going to be a first. I mean, you all went through some of the history for black folks in this country, and I was actually an Africana Studies minor at Oberlin College, so I studied a lot of this, and I just thought, okay, well, that's it. All the firsts were done. So that was not something that really was motivating me. What was motivating me is that I really felt like having someone with my perspective and my approach to criminal justice would be important in a courtroom, and I thought it would be especially important in my community. I have been at the center of my community no matter where I've lived, and certainly in this county for a very long time, and I understood a lot of the challenges that everyday people like us face. And you need somebody who is holding that at the core of what their decision making is, their thought process. You need someone like that sitting on the bench. So that's why I decided to run for judge. And then beyond that, I knew I had the skill set. I knew I understood the law, and I felt like I had the right approach to being a judge. Because, one of the things I like to share with folks is when people come into the court, it's one of their worst days, even if it's just a traffic ticket. Our court does traffic tickets, so even if you just get a speeding ticket, people get very nervous. They've had to take off of work. They got stopped by the police. It's kind of it can be a harrowing experience. And so I understand that and want to try to make the process as smooth for them as possible and not add to that aggravation. And I saw that a lot of judges didn't necessarily have that approach to doing the job. So that was another reason why I wanted to run. And then also because I knew that I'd be good at it, but also that I had the support of my community. And, I know you all are busy doing so many things from just what I've seen today, but if you saw any of my campaign, everywhere that I went, people really got behind me, and particularly in Oberlin and the areas that surround the court. The folks that live next door to me and down the street from me, they really had my back. And so that made me feel good because that means that I had their stamp of approval in order to run. So that's kind of what motivated me.
Could you tell us, you just talked about people coming in and seeing you and then a smile on their face. So could you tell us why representation in the courtroom is important?
Yes. So the role of a judge is to be a neutral decision maker. However, every judge in the entire country, really in the whole world obviously, is a human being, and we are all flawed, and we all have our own biases and our own preconceived notions. And though we are trained and are required to kind of keep that at bay, it doesn't always work. And you know, you all have watched the news, seen movies, heard the stories, the parts of history where the justice system didn't necessarily work for people because there are so many people with certain biases who are on the bench throughout our country. So by having somebody with a different identity on the bench, although again, I'm just a human being, but I have a different view of people, right? So if a person of color comes into my courtroom, I am not going to automatically think that that person is a criminal. There are people in the criminal justice system who think like that. I used to work with them, so I'm not making this up. And I'm going to see them as a human being because they might remind me of my cousin, or they might remind me of my grandma, they might remind me of my uncle or someone like that. And I'm going to have a different approach to how I handle their case. It may be a bias anyway because it's kind of a positive one, but at least it's different from the judge that's in the next room or the judge that's in the next courtroom in another jurisdiction. So it's important to have different people sitting on the bench because they're going to bring their lived experience. They're going to bring even the positives and the negatives, because we are all flawed, to the bench. And then you're going to have a different outcome as a result of having all of those different types of people making decisions. It's a really simple, practical thought process, but it is real. We cannot, kind of overlook the fact that our judges are biased. And if every judge that you come across has the same bias, then you're going to constantly get the same outcome across every court in the country. So that's why representation matters.
Thank you so much for that, and we thank you so much for being here with us tonight. Can I shake your hand? Can I just thank you so much. And so we're gonna absolutely.
I just want to say, you all keep doing what you're doing. I am very inspired by you. You are young people. You are on the right path for the things that you want to do. Yeah. I see a lot of authenticity in this room. I see a lot of people who are trying to be and working at being 100% themselves. That is exactly where you start. And then from there, there's a couple things that I would advise you to do. One, do things that you're afraid to do. Get uncomfortable. When you stretch yourself, you grow. That's one. Two, make sure when the opportunity arises that you're looking for, that you're prepared for it. Get the education that you need. Talk to the people that you need to talk to. Three, if you want to be a judge, come to my courtroom and watch me. Go to Judge White's courtroom here in Elyria and watch him. Go watch Judge Bennett. Go to the Common Pleas Court. Go sit and see the people doing the things that you want to do. And then to Dakarion's speech, which was so amazing, register to vote. Then after you register, wait, listen to this part. The people who are running for office in this county, they're here. They're down the street, they're around the corner. You can meet every last one of them. The last several elections, I have known every single person on the ballot personally because you can meet them. Our county is small enough that you can meet the people, ask them questions, and make an educated decision about who you want to vote for, and then go vote as an educated voter, and make sure that you do that everywhere that you live, no matter what, because everything Dakarion said is absolutely true, and it is how people like me get to sit on the bench, and it's how you can do it too.
Thank you for that. Thank you. No, because there's one chair.
Hello, my name is Ajwa.
Hi, I'm Amy.
And before we begin, we want to share a little story about the song you're about to hear. Many people recognize The Other Woman from the haunting version by Lana Del Rey, but the song's story actually goes back much further.
The song, The Other Woman, was written by songwriter Jessie Mae Robinson and became powerful through performances by legendary Black artists, especially Nina Simone. Her interpretation gave the song its emotional depth, telling a story of love, loneliness, and invisibility.
Today, we honor that history and the voices that carried this music long before it reached modern audiences.
So as you listen, think about the generations of artists whose feelings live inside this song.
This is The Other Woman.
The other woman has time to manicure her nails. The other woman is perfect where her rival fails. And she's never seen with pin curls in her hair. The other woman enchants her clothes with French perfumes. The other woman keeps fresh cut flowers in each room. And there are never toys that's scattered everywhere. And when her old man comes to call, he'll find her waiting like a lonesome queen. 'Cause to be by her side is such a change from old routine. But the other woman will always cry herself to sleep. The other woman will never have his love to keep. And as the years go by, the other woman will spend her life will spend her life alone.
Good afternoon, everyone. And before we end today's program, we have a very special surprise. Black history isn't just something that we talk about during 1 month of the year. It's something that has to be taught with honesty, pride, and purpose. It takes dedication to make sure our stories are told in the right way. It encourages and teaches history in a way that challenges you and to think deeper. And it takes heart to make sure that students themselves are able to reflect on that history.
Ms. Brennan and Mr. Hill do exactly that. They go beyond the textbook. They remind us that Black history is powerful, complex, and still being written. Because of their commitment, many of us walk away more informed, confident, and proud of who we are and where we come from. Today, we want to recognize their work and hard work and dedication to telling our story through the Lost History and AP African American Studies classes. On behalf of the students, it is my honor to present these 2 certificates of appreciation to Ms. Brennan and Mr. Hill. Thank you so much for your passion, your leadership, and making sure that Black history is not just remembered, but respected and celebrated. Everybody give them a round of applause.
We hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I hope you all had an opportunity to learn something here and are able to take something home with you. Have a great rest of your day.